So now we're in part 2 of the poster lesson. Now, first thing what I do with a project like this, I first bring in the pictures I think I want to use. We're going to be adding some captions, some text boxes, and a couple other things. We're going to do a few edits around the pictures too. So let's bring in another picture. Now, I'm doing this layout here. Now, you guys, of course, I know don't have the same pictures I have. So you can do whatever layout you think looks good. Now, a little layout design tip. A lot of times there are pictures that work better on the left or the right. For example, this picture of the giraffes, from my experience, that would be a great picture for the right because when you look at it, it brings your eyes to the left. Okay? Now you want pictures that bring your eyes to the left on the right because it keeps your eyes on the poster. Now if I put this picture over on the other side, it would take my eyes off of the page. Okay, so this is a good one to keep over on the right. Quite frankly, a picture like this where it's looking straight at you, this could work on either side. It's not necessarily a bad picture for either side, but to me it tilts a little bit to the right because they're kind of looking a little bit on an angle. So at least for now, I'm going to put it here. I could always move it later if I find some other pictures. Now, when I'm doing these type of layouts, I often do bring in pictures, try out some different combinations before I decide on my final edit. So without further ado, I'm going to just get my cursor down here. Watch your cursor. Now, if I were to leave this here selected and insert a new picture, you know what it's going to do? It's going to replace this picture with a new one. Okay, so make sure you don't have that selected. I've done that before. I have it selected. I don't pay attention. I insert a picture, and it replaces it. So unless you are trying to replace it, don't do that. So I'm going to click down here. Now you could. I'm going to go over here this time. I'm in this view right here on the home tab, and I'm going to this picture right there. I'm going to go to Picture from File. I'm going to go to my desktop and my binder picks, and I'm going to look for. Let's see. What do I want next? Okay, I'm going to bring in the kids right now. Okay, it's probably be a good picture for there. Now, this did something weird. I don't know why it did that, but I'm going to resize it way smaller. Now, when I resize, I use the Shift key. Okay, I use the Shift key when I resize it. I do that out of habit so I don't distort it. I also use the corner handle. Now, with your picture selected, if you see the wrap text up here, great. You can just pull it down. If you don't for some reason, click on your picture until this Format Picture menu comes up. We want the Format Picture tab to come up. Go under Wrap Text, and as I found works good, I just go to the one called Tight. That has worked really well for me in the past. I click on that. Now I can move this exactly precisely where I want. Actually, this works pretty good, just what I just did there. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit because we're going to add maybe some captions later. I'll give myself a little bit of room for a caption there. Okay. Now, having these not line up is okay because I might decide to put a text box here that has like museum hours and ticket prices and stuff like that. Okay, I'm going to look to add maybe only one more picture for now because we don't want it to get too crowded. So I'm going to put my cursor underneath here. Personally, I'm going to put actually I'm probably going to add two. I'm going to probably put the entrance somewhere down here in the logo. So if you have not put in an entrance or logo, if you have pictures like that, that would be a good place to start putting them in. Now maybe some of you decide to put yours up higher, that's okay. Like I said, there's not always a one best way to do it. Here comes my entrance picture. Now it jumped down to like a new page. Obviously I don't want that. I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to resize it quite a bit smaller. Once I did that, it automatically jumped back up to the top page. And with that selected, I'm going to go up here to Wrap Text like I always do. I'm going to do a Tight. And now I should be able to move this exactly where I want it. I'm going to put this here. I'm going to hold down the Shift key. I'm going to drag it. Now they don't all have to be the same size. You can just kind of try out some different layout ideas and see what works good for you. We are going to be putting in save some room for a good sized text box. Now I'm going to bring in the logo over here. And right now my cursor's there, so when I first insert the logo, it might do something weird. Don't panic. Okay, I gotta go back to desktop, back to binder pics, and I'm gonna look for binder logo. Now there is a PNG version and a JPEG one. I'm gonna try the PNG one first. Okay, now it's kind of small and behind here. So I'm gonna first do the text wrap thing so I can move it. And of course, when I do a screen record, I get a phone call. Hello? Yeah.
Let me go home. Good night.
End of the hour. Okay.
Group time?
Okay. Andrew, Patty, see Mr. Glass by the end of the hour.
I wanted to go home.
Okay. Now, this one here, I did the, this is rather small, but I'm going to keep it fairly small. This is just going to go down maybe in the bottom corner. I might move it later. For right now, I'm just kind of sticking it on there. Now, again, my layout is not your layout. You can do your layout different, and you can move things around. Now, one of the decisions to make now is where do I put a text box with some museum or zoo information? I usually like to have some pictures and put a text box down here. Now, I could put one right there. That'd be an option. I could click this picture and move it up here and put the text box over here. That'd be another option. So there's not always a right or wrong. It's just a preference. Matter of fact, I might do just that. I might move it down here and leave my pictures like this. Okay, now let's do a text box. How do you do that?
Very well.
You go up here where it says text box. Now I'm on the home here because I deselected my images. So I'm on the home tab. I go over here to text box and I go to select text box. Now we're going to drag a text box here and drag it, you know, reasonably good size at this point. Now yours might be on the left, right, whatever. We're going to do a couple of things here. First of all, we're going to put binder, park, zoo, hours. Now we're going to make some stuff up here. We're not going to use the real ones. They're not even open this time of year. But we'll put, usually the zoo hours, they usually got one set for like Saturday, Sunday, and one set for Monday through Friday. So we'll put Mon-Fry. You can write them out if you want, if you got room. And then I'm going to press tab a couple of times. And I will put 10 a.m. and then a little hyphen. And I'll put 6 p.m. I'm just making stuff up. This sounds reasonable. Okay, now I'm going to put a little space here. It doesn't look quite right, so I'm putting a few spaces in there. For the AM and the PM, I kept it lowercase. Some people put dots in after each. Whatever you do, do it consistently. I got the colon there for the 10. I got the colon there for the 6. I put a little space in there. That looks good. Now I'm going to go underneath here, and then we'll put sat and sun if you want to write out, if you got room for it. I think that probably works good. I'm going to hit tab twice again so I line it up with where I did this over here. And we'll pretend that on Saturday and Sunday they open at, well, we'll say 10 a.m. again. That probably sounds pretty reasonable. Then I hit space, hyphen, space, and we'll pretend they stay open until 7 p.m. So they're an hour longer. So I do the same type of format for that. Now we're going to make up some ticket prices because we're going to keep it fairly, we're going to do it slightly different. So we'll put ticket prices. And then maybe hit return twice. Give yourself a little bit of space there. And we'll put adults. I'm going to hit tab twice to line it up again. And I'll put $14. I don't know if you can see this very well. I put a dollar sign, I put 14, I put a period and 2 zeros. Then we'll put children. And under that we'll put under 17. Then we'll hit the tab, put a dollar sign, and we'll put maybe $10. Now, as starting to do this, I realize I probably need a little more room here, and I got all this room right there. So I'm going to put my cursor here right before the 14 and press tab again. Then I'm going to put the cursor right before my 10 and press tab, move it over a little bit. These don't have to line up exactly with this. Now we're going to add one more category. We'll put children under, we'll say under 3. And then we'll press the tab a couple of times and we'll put free. Actually, I'm going to change my under 17 to 3 to 17. Okay? A lot of times they include 17 and younger as children prices or kid prices. They usually don't differentiate 17 from like 12 in most cases. Okay, now to make this look a little better, I'm going to highlight Binder Park Zoo hours. I'm going to make it slightly bigger. I'm going to go 14 point and I'm going to click bold. And then do the same thing with ticket prices. Make it a little bit bigger and make it bold. Okay, now I want this to be an actual box. I want it to look like a box. So how do I do that? I can double click on the edge here of my text box and that brings up the formats up here. Now they do got some pre-made formats. I'm going to click some of these, see what they look like. Now that one's not all bad. And you got a few of these here. So if you want to use a pre-made format, that's okay. If you want to do a custom format, do your own fill. I'm going to do a light gray. And do your own line. How many think I'm going to stick with that? That looks pretty good. So in other words, we're doing a fill and a border on here. If you want to use a pre-made one that looks good, great. If you want to do your own fill. Now to get this menu here, if you're like, Mr. Rio, I don't have the format tab up there like you do, just click on the edge of the text box, click it once, maybe twice, until this pops up. And you can do a little custom editing there. Now, actually, we're going to do some captions. I'll do one here, and then let's try to do 2. It'll only take us a moment. Click on the text box up here and drag under one of your pictures. I don't care which one. Okay. Now you might say that messed up your spacing. I'll fix that later. I'm going to put the new lions at Binder Park Zoo. Now you may not have that picture, so you can make your own caption for something that makes sense for you. But after you type it, and you can do a variation of this for yours, highlight it, make it 10 point, make it italic, and make it centered. So I did all that right here. I did 10 point, italic, and centered. Okay, now I'm going to move this picture here back over here. It got moved when I made that. Okay, now once you made one, in this case, I'm going to try and move it up a little bit, so it's a little bit closer to my, I don't want it on my picture. Sometimes you can, yeah, I guess I can't move it anywhere else. Now click on the one you just made, save yourself a little bit of formatting, do a copy, move your cursor somewhere else, do a paste, and then drag that new one that you made under another picture. Now if you want to make a new one from scratch, that's okay too. Now, on your new one here, go ahead and add the text for whatever that picture is that you're going to drag it to. I'm going to put visitors feeding the giraffes. Okay, captions sometimes have a period, sometimes they don't. I'm not real picky about that. I'm going to drag this picture down a little bit so it looks better. I'm going to center this logo down here. And that's probably good enough for now. We have a couple of captions up here. You should have at least 2. We got a box with zoo hours and prices. We have pictures up here. We have, you might have a logo on there. We have a word art we made there. Now the pictures could be edited. If you click on here, you know that you could go up here and you could edit the pictures if you needed to add filters or adjustments or borders on there. I'm not going to require that right now in the interest of time. If you want to go in there and try a few things out, I'm just clicking on borders here to see what happens. Okay, it turned out that created a problem. I'm going to undo that. Okay, I can go through another time when I got more time and fix it. Go ahead and do a save. At minimum, you should have something that looks pretty decent now. I'm going to change my view to whole page so you can see what my whole document looks like. We'll come back to this tomorrow and maybe do a couple tweaks to it, but that's the basic parts of the lesson. So I'm ending this screen record right now. And like I said, we might do a few more tweaks to it, but that covers the basics. So go ahead and hit save. We're done for the day. You can clean up your areas and check your devices. And I'm going to end the screen record.